Every new school year brings with it the same age-old problem, the constant war of attrition that is fought against your motivation as the semester wears on. See, in the beginning of the semester, you know your motivation levels are usually high. You've got brand new classes that you're excited to take, and there's usually not a whole lot on your plate to stress you out. But in the middle of the semester, it's a very different picture. You've got tons of assignments, deadlines, projects, all stressing you out, and as a result, your motivational reserves can take a dip. You just don't want to go on. And I know I dealt with this problem during every single semester of my college career, and it's probably something that you've dealt with as well. So what I want to do with today's video is give you 5 different strategies that you can use to maintain a high level of motivation to do your work, to study diligently, all throughout the entire semester. Now, everything we're going to be talking about today is either a habit that you can adopt or an action that you can take in a specific moment. We're not going to be talking about any motivational mantras or mindset hacks here. Everything on this list is something that you can actually do, but it's still going to have a tangible effect on your motivation. So let's get into it with the first habit on the list. From the moment you walk into your very first class this semester, make the commitment to sit up front and ring class for all it's worth. Treat class like the active learning time that it should be. This means, again, sitting up front, taking notes the entire time, raising your hand, asking questions, and participating in discussions. If you can do this right from the start, then you're gonna gain an implicit psychological pressure to keep doing it throughout the entirety of the rest of the semester. And this is because humans have a core drive to act consistently. We wanna act in accordance and in line with our previous decisions. And this is something that Robert Cialdini talks about in his excellent book, Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion. As he puts it, once we have made a choice or taken a stand, we will encounter personal and interpersonal pressures to behave consistently with that commitment. Those pressures will cause us to respond in ways that justify our earlier decision. And this desire to act consistently was definitely something that I experienced in my own college classes. In the ones where I immediately sat up front, took notes, participated in discussions, I felt pressure to act in accordance with those decisions the entire semester afterwards. And on the other hand, for the classes where I just maybe didn't care a whole lot, sat in the back, sold computers on Craigslist, and didn't pay attention, that colored my experience throughout the entire semester as well. So think of your first week of classes as your opportunity to establish either positive momentum or negative momentum because of this consistency principle. So that brings us to habit number 2, which is to make sure you establish regular contact with your teachers and your professors. And this is actually quite related to the first tip, especially that quote from Robert Cialdini that I just mentioned, because if you'll remember, he mentions both personal and interpersonal pressures for remaining consistent. And I found that when you know your professors, you actually feel a little bit beholden to them, because when you're in class, you know that since they know you as well, they are paying attention to how you are behaving. They'll notice whether or not you take notes diligently. They'll notice if you actually participate in class discussions. And again, you're going to want to act consistently with both your own expectations of yourself and what you've done in the past, but also with their expectations that they develop through observing you in the beginning of the semester when you're already highly motivated. Tip number 3 is to have a plan when it comes to your homework and your study time. So if you think about your class time, that is highly regimented. You have a specific place you're supposed to be, and the class is happening at a specific time. And as a result, you almost always show up on time. There's really no decision you have to make. You just kind of do it because you know that's part of your schedule. So why not apply that logic to your homework and study time? Instead of just saying, I'm gonna study, wherever I want to, maybe in my dorm, maybe in the library, I don't know, and I'll do it whenever I have time. Instead, maybe at the beginning of every single week, look ahead at your calendar, see what kind of blocks of free time you have, and block out planned spaces of study time. And additionally, know where you're going to study. Maybe have a specific spot in the library that you usually go to, or create a specific study space in your dorm room and plan to study there. Again, when you have a plan ahead of time, then you reduce the amount of decisions you have to make in the moment, which decreases the likelihood that you're going to take the path of least resistance, which is probably playing video games and putting off your studying until later. Okay, so before we move on to tip number 4, I do want to share one little bonus mini tip with you, which is to find yourself some good study music. And this is a tip that comes from personal experience, because I've learned over the years that I just enjoy researching, doing my work, studying, reading. I enjoy it more if I have good study music to go along with it. And for that reason, I have been curating a study playlist over on Spotify for quite a few years now. It's just about 10 hours long, and I'll put a link to it down in the description below if you want to check it out. Now, obviously, music does not work for everyone, so you might want to experiment. Some people like white noise, and you can use white noise generators like Noisely to create a custom soundscape for your studying, but some people really do get a motivational boost through music. So at least do some experimentation. And that brings us to tip number 4, which is to know when to quit. And I don't mean quit the entire semester, but know when to quit something that is dragging down all of your other efforts. And I want to tell you a story here. So when I was in my junior year of college, I was in the college's honors program, which meant that I had to go to certain extra classes in order to meet the requirements to graduate with honors. But I got to thinking during my junior year, do I actually need to graduate with honors? Do I need to take these extra classes? Because really the only benefit that I was going to get from the honors program was graduating with a cord around my neck and the ability to put honors grad on my resume. But the thing was, I already had a lot of other irons in the fire. I had a full course schedule, I had extracurriculars, I had a side project that was growing into a business and a part-time job. And I realized going through that semester that all the extra requirements I had because of that honors program were just fragmenting my attention, and they were bringing my overall level of motivation down. And when I really thought about it, having that little bit on my resume wasn't going to matter in the long run. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, I wanted to work for myself, so having accolades on my resume really wasn't gonna get me a whole lot in the future. So I made this strategic decision to quit the honors program to make more time to focus more deeply on my other projects, and as a result, my motivation for those other projects and for my other classes went up. Now, I do wanna note that I'm not saying you should quit when things just get tough, right? You have to kind of go through this dip of difficulty with anything that's worth doing. But if you're realizing that your attention is fragmented, or you've taken on too many commitments, or the thing that you're doing, or one of the things that you're doing just isn't really worth it anymore, then it could be a good strategic decision to quit that in order to raise your motivation to tackle the other things on your plate. And that brings us to the final item on this list, which is to make real fun a priority this semester. And I have to say this because I know a lot of people, myself included, who will often feel too guilty to let themselves do the things that are truly fun because they feel like they need that time for work. I know a lot of people who will not go to movies with friends. They will not play that video game they wanted to play because they think they need every single spare minute to get their homework done or to do more studying. But these same people, and I'm gonna include myself here because I catch myself doing this, these same people will not work efficiently during their work hours. They will take random breaks to go to Twitter or Facebook. And the thing is, like, going to Twitter or Facebook, that's not actually that fun. That's just a distraction. It just fragments your attention, probably harms your mental health because of what's on Twitter and Facebook, and it certainly isn't mentally refreshing in any way. But the other thing is, when you allow yourself to do the things that you feel are truly fun, whether it's going out with friends or playing Magic the Gathering in my case, that will hone your focus and hone your attention during your actual work hours. Because when you know you have a limited amount of time to get your work done because there's an actual plan later on, you will use that time effectively. And once you actually go and experience that fun thing, you're going to get a mental reset in the process. Part of the reason why a lot of students lose motivation throughout the semester is that they work themselves to the point of exhaustion and burnout. You need that cycle of actual rest, which isn't just sleep, but it's, respite from your work and actual fun time and work. You need that actual interplay between those two states of being. So all that being said, make time for real fun this semester, and you're gonna find that your motivational reserves maintain themselves throughout the entirety of that semester. And of course, when your motivation is high, you work more efficiently and you have more time, both for the fun things, but also for pursuing some things that can help you get ahead. And one of those things that I would suggest doing this semester, if you haven't started the process already, is building your online presence. It is never too early to start building relationships, to establish a portfolio, and to start establishing yourself as an up-and-coming expert in your field. And one of the very first steps to doing that is to get yourself a professional domain name. Even if you're not yet ready to build a website, you want to get your hands on your domain name as soon as possible, because if someone else comes along and registers it, then you can't get it. So go and get your professional domain name before someone else gets it, and when you do, you should go get it at Hover. Hover is the best place on the internet to get your hands on domain names, not least of which because they have over 400 domain extensions to choose from. They have all your classic .coms, .mes, .nets, which I think are great for professional presence, but they also have a lot of more fun ones like .ninja and .lol. In fact, I have thomas.lol, and I'll probably end up registering more fun ones like that in the future. Additionally, with Hover, there is absolutely no friction in the sign-up process. If you haven't an account, you can actually buy a domain in less than 30 seconds. And yes, I have timed myself on that. And you can do that because there are no upsells. There are no annoying pop-ups. And then once you have your domain, they have a couple of extra tools to help you build your online presence even further, including the ability to create a professional email address, such as mine, which is thomas@collegeinfogeek.com, a little bit more professional than a Gmail, plus their Connect tool, which allows you to connect that domain up to website builders like Squarespace, or even online store builders like Shopify. So if you're ready to get your hands on your professional domain name, then head over to hover.com/thomasfrank and get it there. And when you do, if you're a new customer, you're gonna get 10% off your first order. Huge thanks, as always, goes out to Hover for sponsoring this video and being a big supporter of my channel, and thank you for watching as well. Hopefully you found this video helpful, and hopefully you stay motivated throughout this entire semester and all semesters afterwards. Of course, if you wanna get more study and productivity tips on this channel, make sure you are subscribed so you see new videos when they come out, and maybe also grab a free copy of my book on how to earn better grades right there. Last but not least, you can watch one more video on this channel by clicking right here, or check out our latest podcast episode right here if you haven't listened to that. Thanks again for watching, and I would say best of luck this semester, but luck isn't what you need. You need systems and self-discipline, and well, I believe you've got it.